In this tutorial, I will walk you through all of the steps to replace the disc brakes on your Farmall tractor. Now, a Farmall Super H, Super M, 300, 400, a 350, and a 450, as well as the 200 series tractors, were all equipped with disc brakes, just like this Super H behind me. If you're working on a standard H or M or other letter series tractors, those had band brakes, and they're quite different, so we have a separate tutorial for a band brake replacement. This tutorial is for disc brakes. In addition to replacing the brakes, I'll also show you how to do a proper adjustment, as that is crucial in the process as well. So watch the video and follow along. At the end, you'll have the confidence to do a brake job on your own tractor. You can take these springs off to free up your pedals. I'm using a pair of locking pliers here to just wrap that around like so. And then your back one will come off as well. I already loosened up the back side, so this will just release off of there. You can use a pair of regular pliers if you prefer, but I like to use locking ones. So both of those springs are off. Next, we'll take this cover off. You can just use that impact to zip all those off of there. You do see that I have my tire and my fender all removed from the tractor. I did that so that you can more easily see what we're doing here on the brakes. You wouldn't necessarily have to do that on your tractor. If you took the fender off, I think it would be easier for you, and it's only a couple bolts to remove the fender, but you don't have to. This will be the last bolt. You can see that it already kind of loosened up there. Now I do have this adjustment screw down here on the bottom. I tried to loosen it up a little bit, but it doesn't seem like that rod's gonna come out until I get this cover off the rest of the way. There we go. Pull my last bolt out for the cover, and it's free, but it's hung up down here. So I'll get a different size here. That might have been enough. Nope, looks like it's got to come out a little bit more. Getting crooked. Oh, it's so close. It's hung up on this cover here at the end. Thinking maybe I can wiggle it out. There we go. It's loose. A little hard with only two hands here. Okay, you drop that down, and then this cover will slide right out of here. There we go. Perfect. Now we can see our discs in here. You can see how they're worn a little bit down there. Then we have this assembly and our second disc. We're ready to rebuild this assembly. You can see that there's two springs here on the end that will just pop off. Sometimes these springs break, so Steiner sells a replacement spring. We'll put those on. It's a good thing to do. You also want to make sure that these pivot well and that you're got a lot of movements lubed up properly. If it isn't, then you would want to make a repair there. Here we have 3 rollers, and I need to tell you something important about these rollers. You will want to measure your rollers if you want to only replace the discs. Sometimes a mechanic would replace these with 1-inch rollers instead of the original 7/8. And by replacing this with a 1-inch roller, they could use a little bit more of the disc up. However, if they put in 1-inch rollers and then you go to put a new disc on, there will be 1/8 of an inch too much and your cover won't go on. So either replace both the discs and the rollers, or if you only want to replace the disc, make sure that you measure them and verify that they are 7/8 of an inch, not the 1-inch upgrade that some people would have put in. Additionally, sometimes these will get flat spots on them. I can see some flat spots on mine. And so you can just replace these rollers, and it's an inexpensive fix for your brake system. You can put those on. Again, make sure this is all moving freely, and then you can reassemble with your new springs. Before I snap my new springs on, I want to show you how well this works. With the new rollers in there, you can see how the brake would engage. It's a very nice, definitely worth the fix. I replaced my rubber boot. That old one will just pull off and this one will snap on pretty easily. Also, we cleaned up the inside of the cover before doing this reassembly step. We have our new disc here, which will just drop down, and then this assembly will drop in here. Notice that your clevis is down here at the bottom and has to kind of drop through that hole. And then it will drop down like that, and then we're ready to put it on the tractor. My backing plate is dry. However, if it was leaking oil at all, at this point I would replace the oil seal. This is a replacement part from Steiner, and now is definitely the time to make that repair if yours is leaking. Since mine is dry, I'm gonna just do the brakes. So I have my new disc here that will slide on, and then I have this assembly ready to lift onto here. Just slide this over. I have the cover back on this side and also have done the same brake replacement on the other side of the tractor. Once you've replaced the brakes on both sides, then you're ready to make the proper adjustment. I'll walk you through that. First, you need to put this bolt through the clevis that you saw. If for any reason you break that bolt, we do sell a replacement bolt at Steiner Tractor Parts, which you could purchase and use. When your bolt is through, you want to adjust this spring to be 1 1/16 of an inch. That should be between the spring only, not including the washer. So that is preloaded to 1 1/16. Then you can tighten that up with the jam nut that's on the other side. There are 3 jam nuts here, and the 2 that are closest to the spring will hold that spring into place. Once you have that done, then you can adjust the play of each of your pedals. You want each of them to have the same amount of play, and when you pull that with your hand, you should see between 1 inch to 1 inch. The book says 1 1/8 to 1 3/8 when you pull that back completely. So you would make that adjustment on both of your pedals. If you need to change that at all, you would do so by moving this bolt here at the end. Once your pedals are in proper position, then you tighten up this jam nuts that is closest to the rubber boot to hold that all in place. Then you can put your springs back on just like that. Before you wrap up, make sure that you put some grease in the shaft here. Just a half a pump would probably be sufficient, and then you'll be ready to test the brakes out. Wow, those brakes are greatly improved. I hope that the steps in this tutorial are helpful to you when you make the repair on your own tractor. We have many more tutorials available online at steinertractor.tv.